All right, welcome everyone. MIDI Music Publishing. I'm here to talk about our first assignment. So I'll show you where to find it on Course Connect. You'll see here, there's the Course Connect site, and I'll each week have the assignments up. This first assignment is the Bartok Mikrokosmos. So there's a score and directions. So download those. You can see I'm over here, and I like to have them open when I work. So you'll see here's the PDF of the assignment directions. I have shortcuts in bold and red. And then here's the score. The basic idea is you'll be recreating some scores to help develop your finale skills. All right, so we'll go ahead and start right in with the document setup. Oh, and I should say, important first detail where this is all going is you'll submit two files in the end, a PDF of your score and a WAV file, which is just the audio of your score. So when you first open Finale, you'll get a window like this, and we're going to use the setup wizard. So click on that button. And create new ensemble, engraved style. We're going to use that. And then we're going to click on landscape because this score is in landscape. Blank staff, and we're going to use grand staff. This one's just for keyboard, so we're going to use a grand staff to get started. Click next. And this is just Mikrokosmos, composer Bartok. It's in 4/4 and C major. So simple start, and click finish. And here we have our layout of our score. I'm going to open up, it's called under Window, the main tool palette. And I'm working with two monitors, so I'm making sure I got everything on the right side. There we go. So this is the main tool palette. This shows up automatically on PC, but in Mac you can kind of move it around. The first tool we're going to look at is called the selection tool. And it looks like an arrow. And this is what you can use to kind of move stuff around, do all kinds of stuff in Finale. So first thing you can do is kind of get the measures set up. And you do that just simply by counting. So the first line, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I'm going to select 8 measures. And to select a measure with selection tool, you click where the lines of the staff are. So right in the staff, that's what allows you to select. Don't select above or below, nothing will happen. So click right inside the lines. And if you want to select a range of measures in Finale, count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Hold the shift down, and everything from this point below where I click will be selected. So that's how that works. Now what we're going to do is fit this to a line, and the command for this on the keyboard for Mac is Command Shift M. It opens up this thing called Fit Measures. On PC, it's Control M once you've selected measures. And we're going to do what's called lock the layout with 8 measures per system. So click OK. And you'll notice it puts a little lock symbol up here. That means the measures are locked. So you can do this for the remaining measures in the piece. All right, let's look at Speedy Entry. So this is how we're going to enter notes. So Speedy is this note that looks like it's running. I'm going to click on that, and you'll see in Speedy, when I click in a measure, it takes me to the measures with this little entry point, and it always starts at the beginning of the measure. If I use up and down arrows, I can go to different parts of the staff, and this is literally selecting different notes. So if I go here, there's G4 and so forth. To enter a note without a piano, so I'm going to show without a piano. I'm assuming many of you are at home. You can follow the directions for with a piano if you go into the lab. You're going to put the cursor where you want. So let's start in measure 2. We want this D here in the bottom. Gonna click in the measure and go down to the point where I want to enter D, and you'll see the numbers on your keyboard, on your computer keyboard, correspond to rhythms when you have Speedy Entry tool selected. So for example, number 5 is a quarter note. So go back, put it over the D, and I push number 5. Woo, and I get a quarter note. That's the most complicated part of the whole deal. Now, once I get going, I can, move the cursor to the next note. I want an F. And to go to the next position, I used the right arrow and then down arrow, push number 5, and so forth. So up and down arrows and right and left arrows. And the rhythm is not so hard. I can just keep pushing that number 5 to enter the notes. Oh, I have a half note, which is number 6. So I'm going to use up and down arrow to find my place, push D. A couple of details. You see these little triangles on either side of the line? That means the insert function is selected. Sometimes this is not selected the first time you open Finale. So if you don't see those 2 arrows, you just push Shift I to turn it on and off. Do you see how there's 2 little arrows appearing and disappearing? Make sure that you see those 2 arrows. It won't insert right if you don't have it turned on. If you're working with a PC, it's the insert button. So PC's nice. It actually has a little button that says insert. I think it's up by the delete button. So make sure that's turned on. The other thing you can check out is in the Speedy menu, make sure this jump to next measure is turned on. It'll automatically go to the next measure then when you have entered the number of notes in the measure. So if I go here, I've entered 2 half notes, it jumps. So it just makes things a little easier. If I accidentally enter a half note and then let's say a whole note, it's too many beats. I've goofed up, which is guaranteed to happen. Just click OK, leave that measure alone, but you're gonna have to go back to the measure. So you can either push your entry button right over the note, or you can go there with the arrow keys and click delete. So you'll have to fix it. Otherwise, every time you go in that measure, Finale will bug you that there's too many beats, because you can't have 6 beats in a measure if you're in 4/4. So just so you know what that is and how to delete that. All right, so we talked about how to use the arrow keys to go back and forth. Right now I'm using the arrows back and forth to go to different notes. You can, if you goofed and you want to re-enter a note that's the wrong note, you just simply click delete. And you can, if you wanted a C there instead, You can enter it. To enter rests, so you'll notice the first measure starts with a rest. You can enter the value of the rest. So let's say I'm just going to enter a half note for that first half rest. Then you simply go back over the note and push letter R. That's the shortcut to enter a rest. So then I'm going to enter a quarter note and push R. I'm going to click delete on this last rest because I want that to actually be a note. There we go. Another shortcut is for ties is the equals sign. So you'll see in this measure we want a tie. So I'm going to click over that D and push equals, and it creates a tie. Or if you want to turn it off, push equals again. You'll see it still looks like there's a tie, but when I click out of the measure into the white space, it's actually gone. Finale sometimes has a little delay, so just keep that in mind. You can always kind of click out of the measure to double check. If some of your stems are entered incorrectly, the manual way to change that is push letter L over a note. Flips the stem. All right, you'll notice in the beginning, there's a couple of expressions. So I'll show you how to enter those. Those are with the expression tool. It's the mezzo forte looking icon. You're gonna see how the arrow changes to a little tiny note appears when I get close to the measure. So you want that to be, so it shows you exactly where it's gonna be. You want that to be turned on. I'm gonna double click where that is, and it's gonna open up this expression box. And we're gonna work first with tempo marks. So I'm gonna click tempo marks, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna click on just grave, because I don't think there's a largamente in here. So we're gonna take one of their presets here and we're gonna duplicate it. So we're gonna click duplicate, then we're gonna click edit. And we're gonna just simply change the text to largamente. Then to enter this tempo sign, you can actually enter notes here. You're gonna insert quarter note, and then you just type equals 88. And what's cool about Finale is that this playback tempo coordinates to a real-time tempo playback. So when you listen to your file, it'll play back at 88 to the quarter, which is pretty cool. So click OK, click Assign, and there we have our tempo marking. For this legato and the forte, it's the same tool. So you'll want to enter your notes first, but I'll just show you how to do it in here. There's actually presets for these. So to get forte, you go to Dynamics, and then you can simply select this forte here and click Assign. Same with the legato is under expressive text. You can click legato. So there are some presets in here that make our lives a lot easier. Do you see how there's a little pink box to the left of these? I can actually drag these around, and then there's like a little umbilical cord sort of thing attached to show you where it is. It's actually attached to a beat in the score, so it'll play this legato on whatever beat. You can also drag it to other stabs, but just be mindful of where you want it attached to, because it will affect the playback. All right, page layout. So this is a preset that I like to use for all my publishing, is to set the page to 0.5 all the way around. It maximizes the space. And as we get into more complex scores, you'll find that very helpful. So click on this little icon that looks like a piece of paper, a page layout tool. And we'll go to page layout and page margins. So edit page margins. And 0.5 all the way around, top left, bottom right, and click all pages and click apply. It gave us a little more room, so it's nice. It's a really nice setting. You can also affect the system spacing. So system is the distance between each line of music. And don't grab these little guys here. This will goof up all of your spacing. So don't ever affect spacing in the page layout with these. It'll just, like, if I just go like this, it'll do all kinds of goofy stuff and it'll make everything crazy. So I'm going to Command Z, which is undo. And I'm going to do it globally in the settings. So edit system margins is what I'm going to do. And we're going to do system 1 through 1. So that's, you'll see that the systems are actually numbered 1, 2, and 3. Makes it nice to see what we're doing. So we're going to do 0.5 at the top. Looks like system 1 is usually indented, and especially in piano music, so we're going to do 0.4. Oh, sorry, 0.5 on the left, 0 on the right, because there's no extra space, just the space for the margin. And then the bottom, we're going to do 0.4 on this. So that gave us a little more space in the top. I'm going to work with, make the score look nice. So I just want you to try that out. It's not so crucial because this is just a one-page score, but more complex scores you'll want to know how to do this. Great. So you'll enter all these notes and ties. So we just have ties and notes. I think I forgot to show one thing. You'll see this fourth to last measure, there's a dot. The dot is very easy. You just go back to Speedy. You go over the note where you want to enter the dot and you literally push the dot on the keyboard, push period, and you've got a dot. So I think that's the only thing I forgot to show there. All right, in bold, always listen to your MIDI realization before you export your audio. So I'm going to open up a window, playback controls. This is already part of the dashboard and PC, so you don't have to open it, and it might be open on your Mac too, depending on your settings. So right here, do you see how I just clicked? There's like, I don't know why, there's a little bit of a glitch right now in my Finale, but this has a little pull down button. It's kind of invisible. If you're on PC, it's a little picture of a speaker icon and it'll be at the end of your window. This opens up the settings for playback. The most important setting is this leftmost measure. This will play your file back from where you're at in the file rather than always going to the beginning. So make sure that's on when you start a new file. You can also set the tempo here if you want to have it play a different tempo than what you said, but we'll get to that later. Okay, and then usually this is not an invisible button, but if you're on Mac, you can click in just the bottom left of this playback control to open up. Then all you do is click play, see what happens. So always push play before you finish your project. You'll actually catch a lot of errors. You'll also see if, oh, my file is blank, it's not playing. So I don't want you to submit a blank audio file. Likewise, when you're working with people out in the professional world, you don't want to send them blank audio files either. So there's practical application. All right, so to export this, you'll be submitting two files. One is a audio file, so you'll click export and then click audio file, and then you'll actually see the time running here.
it exports faster than real time, so it doesn't take that long, but just wait for it to finish, and then you've got your, will export as a WAV file, and that's what you'll submit. Then the other thing you'll submit is a PDF. If you're on Mac, PDF in Finale is a little bit gimpy. You have to act like you're going to print. And there is a little button in the bottom of the window down here that'll say PDF. For some reason my sizing's off and I can't get it without my window, but so there's a little thing down here that says PDF. You'll click on it, and then there's an option that says Save as PDF. So depending on your print dialog settings, that's what that will look like. If you're on a PC, it's very easy. You just go export, and PC in Finale actually has a export to PDF option, so you don't have to worry about it. All right, then you'll upload your files to Course Connect. You'll go into the assignment here, and down here, Project 1, Bartok, due. So this is due in a couple weeks, and you'll that's where you'll submit the files. All right, so enjoy doing this assignment, and I look forward to seeing your works.